This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports Chaco. We're delighted to be joined with Belfast leading lady once again. I've come up with a new name for you, Kristina O'Hara McCafferty. How are you?
I'm good. Training hard. How are you?
All is fantastic, I guess. We've had our summer last week. Obviously, the weather was really warm last week. We're probably now in the sort of neutral, sort of normal sunshine weather again.
Yeah.
Probably about 20
It's
degrees.
not nice though, is it? It's like a nice wee, not too warm, not too cold.
It's like that sort of postcard weather. Obviously, it looks good on a picture, but it's not nice to sort of be in. Sort
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
the last time we were speaking to you, you were 1-0. You were a week out from your second pro fight. You're obviously now 2. You're obviously now 2-0, and you're obviously, as we're going to come on to an interview, you're going to have your third fight coming up shortly. But sort of looking back at your fight against Kamiga Avika, I think might be one of them ones I might have pronounced right in the first thing. What did you? I guess probably in my sort of view, sort of look at the fight and go, she was ballsy. She sort of came and she wanted to fight. She was just like a bulldozer. She just kept coming and coming. What would you sort of assess when you sort of look back at the fight? Do you sort of be critical sort of it, or?
Yeah, I think when I watched it, there was definitely times that I could have stopped her. You know, I think I had my game plan correct. You know, just to stay on the back foot, pick her off, and I picked up on the uppercut quite early. You know, which was good. But yeah, she came for it all, and she was super strong and, you know, super tough, and she never started actually taking a step back until maybe the third or fourth round, where the punches then were becoming effective because she was tiring. But yeah, watching it back, I kind of just go like, I could have maybe done that wee bit more, and I'm my own biggest critic. Like, I mean, I believe that I fought well and I done everything that I could have done at the time. You know, I was sick for a week before, a stomach bug the week before, so I was feeling very fatigued, sort of. So I mean, not taking that into consideration too. Like, I think I done everything that I could have done on the night. Yeah.
I guess if you sort of had I know you're never going to have a perfect fight. I guess, you know, it's your second fight back in a few years as well. So I guess probably different from your debut, where obviously you had the ring rust and things like that. Obviously getting back out again. I know it was obviously from November to April was 5 months pretty much, and sort of you'd probably nearly like to be a bit more active. But I guess getting back in again, you'd already experienced your pro ring walk, same venue and things like that again. It was just like, here we go again. And I guess in some ways, probably the opponent stood there and took all you have. It's good for you for TV because it keeps showing what you're all about. You know, rather than you just blowing someone away, if you can show people what's in the tank and what's to come, then it's more excitement for them.
I think that my debut was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant on my debut. You know, she sort of had similar style, the come forward and, you know, just trying to walk you down and things like that. But the Camila Vega was a lot stronger, a lot more sharper than the first fight. And that obviously came into effect because I was sick for the week before. And you know, it just there's not really much that I can do about that. You know, I get in the ring and I just do what I'm capable of on the night. You know, sometimes watching it back, I felt maybe it was only at maybe 70 or 80%. You know, and I said this to you in our first interview as well. Once I'm up at 100%, you'll know, looking back, like, Jesus, she was only 50% there. You know, so I do look at it as a positive to go, well, if that's what I can do, sick, you know, come on, see what I can do when I'm up there and all the ring rust is gone, and, you know, I'm completely confident and all the rest of it. So I do look forward to the next couple of fights, because obviously you can only get better, like, you know, and the fights will get better and the entertainment as well will get better too. So I can't wait for them, like.
I guess in some ways it's probably great when you know, because I know women's boxing is obviously even bigger in the rise. It's obviously, it's all you've known, obviously, as being a boxer and everything else, but particularly in the professional scene, it's obviously massively on the rise. Whenever you see, you know, someone in a lighter weight class like yourself throwing uppercuts for fun, you know, it's sort of, I guess it shows the talents. You know, people don't have to watch you for too long to probably see that the range of punches you have, and you're able to box in the back foot, you're able to come forward. you can obviously go through A, B, and C plans probably very easy. It's probably going to be really easy for people on the eye to watch you and probably go, you know, this is no different. They're probably watching a man's fight, and there shouldn't be any difference, but people can see in your style that, you know, whether you want to come on the front foot or whether you want to stand and pick people off, you're going to do it all night long.
Yeah. Well, my first fight, I was on the front foot the whole fight. You know, I think I took the centre of the ring very well. My range and my distance and stuff like that was a little bit off. But that comes with time out and, you know, things like that. But my second fight then, I was on the back foot the whole fight until maybe the last round, when I knew I was hurting her. And so, I mean, there's two different fights and two different styles. You know, there is times that I stood and traded, you know, and when I knew I had to move and I moved, and when I knew when I had to stay in and throw the shots, and I was able to pick them and get out again. You know, I've always had really good feet, and I think I've always sort of been a back foot fighter anyway. But I think I tried in my debut to try to switch it up a wee bit and try to go forward and be on the front foot and just take control of it, because it's different. You know, every fight will be different, so I'd like to know that I'm capable of doing it. You know.
Is there anything probably, you know, sort of going back to your amateur sort of days, is there anything sort of, you know, because anybody that's sort of gone through the high performance unit, you know, I probably think of people like Carl Frampton and Mick Conlon are obviously very, very good on their feet. Was there anything that was done specifically in the high performance unit that, I don't know, maybe it's just you were always naturally really good with your feet, maybe you were a dancer, you know, in your younger days, but it's like, you know, it always seems to be boxers that have been really good amateurs that come across. The one thing that people always know about really good amateur really good Irish fighters is they're always really good in their feet.
In their feet, yeah. I don't really, see, to be honest, I don't really remember much about the high performance training. But I did dance before I started boxing, and I think that might have helped me a lot, because see, as a kid, like, I had 2 left feet. So my mummy got me into dancing to try, you know, just for fewer coordination and stuff like that. And I don't know, I think I've just always, it's just a hyper thing to be up on my toes all the time. But I've changed that, maybe not a lot. I still I had to go back to the amateur way for that last fight, you know, on my toes and picking my shots, and there was times I had to, you know, sit down on the punches too. So I can't really remember, like, I actually being taught anything specific for your feet. I think it's just, if you have it, you have it, you know, and what you're taught as a kid and what you're taught growing up, and it comes into play when you get into the pro game, or even the amateur game too.
I keep thinking back to Vasily Lomachenko. Obviously, his first couple of years, he wasn't allowed to box. He had to dance and things like that. I guess it's probably, you know, you always see these motivational things sometimes that come along, and I guess probably for some of the younger ones starting out, I guess probably for a young lad, it's probably different. You know, if you say to a young Irish boxer, here, you're going to go and do ballet, or you're going to do this, you're going to do that, they're going to go, no, I'm fighting, or I'm going to play Gaelic, or I'm going to play football. They won't want to do the dancing part, but I guess Lomachenko's dad knew exactly what he needed to get him to the very top.
Have you ever heard of the Australian boxer Harry Garside?
I don't. I know the name Garside, but I can't think of who exactly it is.
I think he's maybe 54 kilo or something. He silvered the Commonwealth last year. I think he got Olympic bronze in the Tokyo, but he's pro now. But he's a plumber, he's a ballet dancer, and he's a boxer. You know, 3 completely different lifestyles. You know, and I always think back to him and I go, like, fair play to him. You know, a man like dancing and working and still, you know, pursuing his dream, and he's a phenomenal boxer too. But I always think it's dead funny the way that he just has like 3 completely different lifestyles. I think it's amazing.
And sort of when you pick on that there as well, I'm just thinking, obviously, you've taken up football recently. You're obviously sticking with 2 left feet and everything else, but you've taken up football recently. How's that going for you?
Yeah. At the start, I kind of just took it up for a wee bit of extra running, you know, where it's kind of like active recovery, where you don't actually realize that you're running as much as you're running, and it's fun. So yeah, I started playing for Belfast Swifts, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and played a couple of matches. Obviously now I have to calm down on the matches because of, you know, fights coming up and stuff. But like, it's brilliant. It's good crack. Like, I always explain to them, like, I don't come from a team. You know, boxing's a lone sport, and it's just you. So being introduced into a team, it's I don't know, it's comforting, and especially a team of women too. You know, boxing's always been a predominantly male sport, and leaving like that scene and going into an all-female team, it's, I don't know, it's comfortable or something. It's just nice. It's a different change of scenery. So I'm happy enough to be playing for them, and they're a great bunch of girls, like, and the coaches are all dead on, and they're all supporting me in my journey and understanding that, you know, I can't always be here and I can't commit to it because I'm committed to my boxing, and they're all 100% dead on, like.
I'm just thinking of you as obviously the female version of Roy Keane. You know, they just put you in the centre of the park and tell other teammate you can fight like mad, you're a professional boxer, and nobody will come near you.
Well, as a kid, like, when I played football as a kid, I was always put in defence because I was tough, and nobody ever got past me. So when I went up there, I was like, "You're fit. You're going in centre," and that was it. So I play centre midfield now.
Centre midfield, and you sharpen your studs before you go out.
I can actually carry my wraps in my pocket just in case.
but I guess in some ways probably people see that you're a professional boxer sometimes, and they probably know that they can maybe try and rile you up a wee bit on the pitch as well, you know, because they know that you're in boxing, you're obviously normally regarded as being like a hothead, sort of, you know, in a sport where you punch people sort of trying to wind you up on the pitch to get you sent off.
No, the girls aren't like that at all. Like, the girls in my team aren't like that anyway. You know, they're all very level-headed, and they're all there to learn football. So I don't really think they care too much. Obviously, they ask questions about training and fights, and, you know, and stuff like that. And they're very supportive of it. But no, nobody really cares. You know, and that's what I love about it too. You're not going in and you're labelled as like, oh, she's the boxer. You know, I love it that they just think of me as part of the team.
It definitely is, and I guess that team environment sort of, I guess, I'll show you different boundaries. Sort of sometimes it's not all about yourself in the ring, because that's all you can do is focus on yourself. Whereas you sort of nearly have to be less selfish now and sort of pass the ball or shout communication to someone else. So I guess in some ways it might learn the other wee traits in life that you might be able to bring in your boxing somehow. You know.
Well, obviously down in the club, we're a team down in the Bosco. You know. We have a team heading to the Celtic Cup here in September. So everybody's down and they're all putting the hard work in, and it's good when, you know, you're in there and you can all egg each other on and keep each other up and make sure that everybody's putting the work in and working hard. So I've learned like that over the years of being in the team, but it's still a very selfish sport. You know, it's still just you, no matter what. Nobody can go into the gym and do your work for you. Same as in football too. You know, the people can't go in and kick the ball for you. Run after the ball for you. You have to do it. If it's, you know, if it's coming to you or you want to get it, you have to go and get it. You know.
Definitely is. Obviously,
maybe it's just the boxing in me. I'm still selfish.
I don't think you'll ever sort of change that trait, because it's not like you can go, well, here, throw you a job there instead. You know, there's nobody else in the ring with you, so you have to be selfish in the sport. We're sort of pre-recording this obviously for the announcement of the show. I think it's been announced on Saturday, so it's Thursday today, but the Commonwealth Games kicks off in Birmingham tomorrow. Obviously, I guess Commonwealth Games are obviously massive for you. You brought home a silver medal the last time out. I'm guessing, obviously, you know, for those you keep in contact still with that are over in Birmingham, you'd be hoping they can bring home as many medals as possible.
Yeah, I still talk to a lot of them actually, and we still we keep in touch on social media. And Nicole, who's actually going at 48 kilo, she was my sparring partner for my debut and my second fight. You know, so obviously I think that she'll do really well at the games. I think they'll all do really well, to be honest with you. I mean, they do have a decent team, and they have a lot of young ones coming up in the team too. You know, people who are probably getting only their first experience in major tournaments, and that's amazing. You know, and that they have a good female team and a good male team. You know, and obviously the Commonwealth Games was massive for me, so that's an opportunity for somebody else to take now and to make themselves better and bigger. And, you know, and I obviously have to wish the team all the best. Like, I mean, I represented as well, and I was there with some of the team here away, and even some of them I was a part of the team with when we were in squad training and went to other international tournaments together. So I have to give a big shout to the girls. Like I'm looking forward to seeing the girls fighting.
It's I guess it's one of them, probably more so than anything, particularly with the Commonwealth Games, comes down to sometimes the luck of the draw. I think Aidan Walsh obviously seems as if he's got a tough task. They obviously did the medal and things this year, but I guess it's coming through them obstacles. We obviously seen Kurt Walker obviously put out the number one in the Olympics last year, so anything's possible. And I guess the Irish team's obviously in a bit of a rise. Obviously, you've world medalists and everything else coming back recently and things like that. So it's that confidence going to build in them in Birmingham, and hopefully they can bring as many gold medals home as they possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that I'll hope every one of them will medal, honestly.
Obviously you're out now 2nd of September. I keep getting mixed up between the dates, don't I? I keep remembering 2nd and 3rd. But you're back out in the 2nd of September in Sheffield. Are you sort of looking at potentially maybe stepping up to 6, or is it maybe going to be another 4-rounder?
I'm not actually too sure yet. I'm hoping that if it's a 4-rounder, it'll be my last 4-rounder, and if not, then it'll be my first 6-rounder. I'm training hard for 6 rounds anyway, so regardless of whether it's 4 or 6, I'll be ready for either of them. So I'm not sure yet.
And what kind of guess anybody tuning in sort of expect to see this time? We've sort of seen you in the front foot, we've seen you in the back foot. Probably maybe this time around we might see a mix of both.
Well, that's all down to opponents and what who shows up in the other corner. I'm ready to go for any style. I can box in the back and I can box forward. It doesn't really matter to me. It just matters on the day, and I look forward to whoever's there getting in and just boxing like I've always boxed.
Definitely, obviously, whoever the opponent is and whatever way, because I guess if you have an opponent just wants to stay in the back foot, you obviously have to do all the work because you don't want to have a boring fight, so you'll always find a way to bring them out of their shell. I guess probably in some ways, we're probably looking at Kate Radomska, and probably I know you don't sort of have any bad blood for Kate Radomska, but obviously she's beaten by Gemma Rigg, and who obviously I know you're quite friendly with. Does obviously that now dispel any sort of talk of a potential fight with Kate, or is it still one that you'd like to have?
It's something that I'm still wanting, and it's something that I still think will happen. A timeline, I don't know. I'm ready to go whenever. And I'll always say that I'm ready to go whenever. But I still haven't seen the fight against Kate and Gemma. I've been trying to get it up on YouTube just for a wee nosy, like. And it hasn't been put up yet, so I actually don't know what she's gonna maybe feel after that, because sometimes after a defeat it can be hard to bounce back and go up to the top again. You got to start from the start and go through the motions again. So I don't know what way it'll sit with her, or else she could possibly go, right, I want that fight now because I need to redeem myself after a defeat. I don't know, it's preference and what her coaches and what herself thinks. Personally I don't think she will, but that's up to her.
Do you sort of, I guess it's always sort of focusing on yourself probably more than anything, because that's the thing you can control and what you do. So if obviously that fight presents itself, it's going to be one you're going to be interested in, but but you probably say it's not the be all and end all. Your dreams are being a world champion, a multiple weight world champion. So, it doesn't take you off any career path. You know where you want to be and everything else.
I just wanted it, because it's not a stepping stone fight. It's huge, and it's huge for female boxing too. There's never been a female Irish title fight, So, and I heard her in a couple of other interviews saying that she wanted an Irish title and she wanted to go on to Katie Taylor and Serrano, Croke Park, So I mean, if that's what she wants, then let's make it happen. That's what I want too. I want the title fight, and I want to be on the Katie Taylor and Serrano bill as well. So I mean, there's 2 birds with 1 stone, and if she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it. It's no skin of my arse. I'm going to move forward either way. As you say, I'm going to go keep climbing the ladder, and I'm going to keep getting better, and eventually I will be a world champion. So that doesn't matter to me whether she takes it or not.
I guess in some ways as well, I guess it'll be interesting to see, I know Kate's always come across probably very well at times as well. So I guess it'll be interesting, probably you watching in as well, sort of the fact that to see how she bounces back from defeat, because she doesn't have a long established amateur career or anything like that. So what changes? And obviously defeat now, because when you probably would have suffered your first defeat, you're going, well, there's something that needs to change. There's always something that needs to be changed somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see what version of her comes back. Where does it make it hungrier? Or obviously now she's tasted defeat, does she sort of realise that there are probably goals and visions of the sport maybe might change as well?
Yeah, I always believe like athletes are their own worst enemy. Like she could bounce back and be better, or it could be just a kick in the balls for her, where she'll just, she'll go through the motions again, and it would maybe be bittersweet. It's always bittersweet after a defeat, but what an athlete does is come back, and they come back stronger. No matter how many times they've got defeated, they'll come back and try again harder.
Definitely. I obviously want to touch finally, obviously, I'm just seeing the timer here. They've obviously, Zoom's now making sure they put a time limit to see if, try and get people to pay for things. But obviously I want to touch on, because obviously Katie Taylor was fighting the same weekend as you last time around. How that probably doesn't inspire probably more of the next generation they come through, they come through what she'd come through with Serrano. I'm sure you were probably, you were at home eating your pizza at that stage, but I'm sure when you sort of look at it and you're going,
pizza and beer.
that's Katie all over. She just has no quit in her whatsoever.
No, never. And even as an amateur, she never did either. And I would say, like, throughout her whole life, she's always been the same. I actually read an article, I can't remember who put it up, but there was 3 Irish boxers on that weekend, and it was my name beside Katie Taylor's name. I think it might have been was it Joe Ward?
Joe Ward, I think, might have been fighting.
I'm not sure. I think so, but like the 3 of our names, like they're 2 top athletes, and just to see my name beside them, it was humbling for me, like, and I just hope it's somewhere down the line that can happen again, and hopefully even fight on one of our undercards.
It'd be crazy, wouldn't it? I guess like I think they're potentially maybe looking at maybe somewhere from April next year, I guess, of what way the football obviously goes with Croke Park next year, but I think they may be looking from April next year onwards, of the potential of that rematch happening. And I say, well, 80 or 90,000 people at Croke Park, you wouldn't even care if you were the first fight on. It's fighting on a Katie Taylor card. Would that be a dream come true?
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I think every female boxer, like not only in Ireland anymore, but all over the world, would love to be getting on to Katie Taylor's bill. Even
every male Irish athlete wants on as well.
Absolutely, yeah, but more so for females because she's a female. But yeah, I mean, it would just be so surreal, and even talking about it sounds so surreal. Is it like, it's hard to imagine it actually happen, but you have to trust the process, and I trust where I'm going. I trust my team, and I trust that if the fight's happening, that they'll get me on the bill. One day.
Definitely, and here you never know. Next summer, you could potentially be fighting for world title as well. You just don't know what happens.
Well, that's it.
That could be your way onto the Katie Taylor card next year. You have to go and win a world title, and you're going, what am I going to do?
No problem.
But obviously, well, thank you obviously once again coming on for having a chat. I guess we sort of seem to delve differently into different wee things. I guess I'm probably more interested to find out what sport you're going to take on the pre-season from camp next time around. We're going, what's Kristina up to now?
I know. Probably camogie or something.
Yeah, probably something stupid. You'll probably be rollerblading down, all over the place somewhere. But obviously, but obviously, we wish you all the very best of luck on camp.
Thanks
and obviously,
much.
And I'm sure we're going to catch up with you obviously before or maybe after your fight in Sheffield.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on again. Appreciate it.
Kristina. All right, cheers. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.